Please stand as you are able and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome to the monthly meeting for March of 2025 of the Board of Trustees of the School Town of Speedway. This evening we're working for a 10-item agenda, and the first agenda item is to approve the minutes of our last meeting, February 11th, 2025.
Mr. President, I move that we approve last month's meetings.
Second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion on the minutes? Seeing none, would all those in favor of approval of the minutes please signify? And that's approved 4-0.
We got 3.
Thank you.
Minutes are signed.
Thank you very much. Our second agenda item this evening is a presentation on the 2025-26 Student Parent Handbook.
In your packet is a copy of the handbook. And in the handbook, I have put in red ink changes that were recommended. And I also have stricken those things that that were suggested to be taken out. And overall, on page 4, since we have a new Assistant Superintendent of Elementary Schools and Program, Mr. Schnaus is listed on page 4. He's also been removed as the principal of Newby Elementary on page 4. On page 6, we updated the yearly calendar as we always do. On page 10 in the handbook, we changed curricular materials and paper fees to pick curricular materials and supplies because we don't have a paper fee anymore. We've also added a line that says that a supply list will be provided by your child's school. On page 12, with state testing, because I read 3 changed to I read, we added a statement that says a student not passing I read assessment in the 3rd grade and has not been issued a good cause exemption will be retained in the 3rd grade by Indiana law. Students not passing I read will be retested each year until they have entered 7th grade. That follows current law. Also on page 12 in the section for state testing, we changed the contact at the end of this section to the Director of Grants and Programs, which was Andrea McIntosh, to Assistant Superintendent of Elementary Schools and Programs, Lance Schnaus. On page 46, there's a section about immunizations. This may not be public knowledge, but all immunizations need to be updated by the first Monday in October, so all students need to be immunized by the first Monday in October, and this year it's October 6th. The immunizations that are necessary have not changed. On page 60, there's an update about Title I Family Night. Those dates were changed to correspond to the 25 25-26 school year. And those are nights at each one of our elementary schools. And those are nights where parents come in and participate in a kind of a back-to-school setting and also get Title I information. In the junior high section of the handbook on page 67, we added, under clubs, groups, and performing groups, they added a student athletic ambassador, which is something they've done for this past year. And then finally, in the high school portion of it, the high school, you heard a presentation by Mr. Borum, our Director of Student Services. The section on curriculum and course selection, instead of adding that, it became too complicated, so there's a section on our website that are going to be where all of our curriculum and course selections will be added. Also, a course that has been in there for a while was called Honor Pre-Advanced Placement course. That doesn't exist, so we removed honor prep courses. Under Section C, under enrollment and graduation requirements, because there is not a I-Step 10 that exists anymore. That went away. That's sunset, as that term is called. That is now, that's not there on page 71. Also on page 71, I-Step 10 was removed from some of the graduation requirements because it did say remove, or it did say who did not pass I-Step 10. And on page 71, there is a alternate diploma as a diploma option now. So as you can see, there's not substantial items that are being recommended for change in this year's handbook, but we're not done with the legislative session also, so there may be some things in the future. Open to any questions that you may have about the recommended changes.
I have one. If we were to have this with the red lines removed for the April meeting, we would be able to catch more of changes by the state legislature, correct?
I don't know if they'll be there. I don't know if they'll be ready by the time we meet in April.
Okay.
Generally, what we have done is we've approved in April, and then we've, if there's anything substantial that's in there, we bring that back. But we approve with the caveat that if there's something that substantial changes, we'll bring those back to the board for them to approve.
Okay, thank you.
Great.
And then I guess any other things that we note in the next month, we should just share with you in your office in order to make other additions and corrections.
And I appreciate that you share with me some typos or things that need to be changed, and that's great. We've been doing that for years, and some things we've missed where those have been changed. Nothing substantial, just typos that were in the handbook. I will say this, in our handbook, we have made a printed copy for years and given to students. The printed copy is becoming more and more expensive to do that, and most schools have gone away from any printed copies to just online copies. We will probably move toward going online, put it on our website so it can be seen, and just have copies available for maybe new students that enroll in our school district.
When you say going towards, is that like for the next school year, or is that?
Yes, yes. And that's still ordering we've ordered 1,800, 2,000 of those in the past. And we've substantially reduced that so that it's just a cost savings for us.
Okay.
Because we can always reference it's on the handbook if needed, or on the website if needed.
When we put it online, what's the format that we do that in?
You mean like, is it in a Word document type thing?
Yeah, is it a,
Yep, it's under resources in our, on our website, and student handbook is,
so it's truly like the print version, but so it's not, we're not having someone, I mean, we might, if we're gonna truly move to an online version, then we might wanna think about having someone convert it to an online document, because that's quite different than,
Or at least a searchable PDF.
yeah.
And we probably also would like to format it to be full page as opposed to the booklet size that we've had.
Yeah. And probably you could change languages with that too, with our new copy machine service.
okay?
It is PDF online. It is
Okay.
currently,
Yeah,
Yeah.
or whatever that's.
yeah, that's,
Go online,
Yes.
change languages.
I mean, it would have to, yeah, that
That's a
would,
PDF online as right now.
but even then, there's like truly online documents function a lot more easily than a PDF that's a link,
Scan
so,
sideways.
yeah. So, just food for thought, if we're really going that direction, then it might be worth it to do it well.
Agree.
Thank you very much. Our third agenda item this evening is to approve the Indiana Online Summer School contract.
Thank you, Mr. President. This contract is for the Indiana Online Summer Courses through the CIESE, who we are a member of. This is a cost of $210 per class with reimbursement provided by the state. Speedway typically has a few students. I asked last few years, even all the way back when I was a principal, we usually have 4 or 5 kids that utilize this during the summertime. And we use this for if there's a flexibility, to give flexibility to our students for like such kids that are going to Area 31, course availability at Speedway, and a range of world language options. So we've used this before. It's a nice tool to have for our counselors, and I just want to make that official to bring this contract in front of you to approve that if you so choose. Again, we get reimbursed for a piece of this from the state. So my recommendation is approve this. It's kind of a routine matter, but just want to bring it towards you.
I'll move that we approve the Indiana Online Summer School contract as presented.
A second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion of the Indiana Online Summer School contract? Would all those in favor of approval please signify? That passes 4-0. Our fourth agenda item this evening is to accept bid packages 1 through 13 and alternates for Project C.
Again, thank you, Mr. President. On February 20th, 2025, Speedway Schools will receive bids for bid packages 1 through 13 for the auxiliary gym renovation and expansion project, which we call Project C. A total of 46 bids were submitted. 46 bids were submitted across various trades, providing strong bid coverage in most of those categories. And so I can put it on record, I'm going to go through the 13 and the winner and the amount. So if you just bear with me so I can say that. Bid package, and this is 1 through 13 with 4 alternates. So if you have any questions, just stop me, but I'll rumble through these real quick. Bid package 1 was general trades at $2,212,000. The lowest bid was 1 bid, and it was 3D professional contracting. If you remember, 3D professional contracting also was the contractor for Newbie for the addition. So. Bid package 2, building and site concrete, $679,000 for Gilberture Construction. Bid package 3, precast, $1,827,000. 1 bid from Coors Lab. Bid package number 4 was masonry, $220,000 for Matthew Masonry. We had 3 bids for that. Bid package 5, structural steel, $630,000. JL Walter and Associates with 7 bids. Bid package 6, roofing and metal panels, $492,000. Foster Contracting Incorporated with 6 bids. Number 7 was metal studs, drywall ceilings, $510,000. 3D Professional Contracting, 2 bids. Paint and wall covering was bid package number 8, $148,000 for Diversified Painting, 4 bids. Bid package 9, fire protection, $123,340. RSQ fire protection with 4 bids. Bid package 10, mechanical, $1,579,579 with Harold Fish Incorporated. 4 bids for that. Bid package 11, electrical, telecom, and security, design and build electric won that with $2,219,515 with 2 bids. Bid package 12, earthwork and utilities, $1,081,860. J.R. Bowling with 5 bids. And finally, bid package 13 was asphalt, $345,552. Globe Asphalt Paving, and we had 4 bids for that. Alternate 1, and we'll go into details about this in a second, athletics entry canopy was accepted. Alternate 5, parking lot pavement replacement. Alternate 8, sidewalk from gateway to football stadium. And alternate 9B, expedited electrical equipment and 75-day quick ship. The recommendation is to accept these 13 bids and the 4 alternates as presented.
Mr. President, I move that we accept the 13, bid packages 1 through 13, and the alternates for Project C.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Thank you. Is there any, are there any questions or discussion about the bid packages numbers 1 through 13 and the alternates as listed and shared? All those in favor of approval of the bid packages number 1 through 13 and the alternates as shared, please signify. That passes 4-0. Our 5th agenda item this evening is to present a facility update.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm going to have our facility director, Eric Roseborough, approach the bench, the podium, not the bench, sorry. Approach the bench, please. Our objective here tonight, is to go through Project A and C, which we've done a little more heavy, I guess, heavier than Project B, but now that we have all the bids in, we can now make great informed decisions on moving forward on some of the other projects. So we're going to touch everything tonight, if that's okay with everybody. And I'll do a quick recap. What you can see on the screen right now, if Bill would put that up, is Project A. Again, we've talked about this probably the most because it's happening right now. So we're going to have some updated pictures also. Just let everybody know that our old facilities, to start from the beginning, it was brand new in 1962. So we did have a track football field underneath our bleachers with that football field, again with a track. So at that time, 14 months ago, and we've talked about it for 10 years before that, it was time for the update. So this is Project A, and again, this is replacing a lot of that facility that was built in 1962. So we have a new end zone building, because once you take away the bleachers, you got to have the locker room, you have to have concessions. This is over 11,000 square foot, and you can see it right now if you drive on 25th Street on the structure of this, and that will hold locker rooms, 2 concession stands, 1 on both ends, 2 full bathrooms for visitors on both ends, also meeting rooms, athletic rooms, and a few small offices. But again, we believe that this design from our design team, that there's a large 900 plus square foot meeting room right in the middle that we're going to use, and that's not just for the schools. We are excited about using this great big facility that's going to have a beautiful view on the football field with communities and our youth football, youth soccer, our band people, you name it. If it's Speedway, we want to make sure people are there. So again, that's a recap. We've talked about that a lot. There is a new track. There is a new turf, as you can see in this. That's not our new track. Can you show my computer, Brian? It's not on my screen. Was that up there the whole time? Okay, so let's move right in here. The project update. You can hear me, but what you're watching here, let's see if we can move this through. Is that changing there? So I'm frozen right now, so you're getting a really nice view of what's being done right now. That picture was taken today? Yesterday?
Yesterday, yeah.
Yesterday. So go ahead and start talking about this project, and I'll work on this, Eric. Okay?
Project A.
Like what you can see here. Project A. Ready, set, go.
Yeah, thanks. That picture was the stone that's going underneath the turf. So they've been doing that for the past, they started, I think, last week, and they're still I would say probably halfway through of getting it sloped right. And the next step then would be the padding and the turf that goes on top of that. So that's what that picture was. You could also kind of see, we had a better picture when it's unfrozen of the curbing that's going around the interior and the exterior of the track. That's where the nail board's for, the turf to be attached to. The dirt is at grade now, so they'll build that up with asphalt, and then that rubbery track surface. And I think that comes in June. And then the outside curbing will be finished. Right now, they've left sections out to be moving the heavy equipment in and out. As far as the end zone building that he mentioned, you can see it, the prefab walls are up. They've been working on all the steel structures, which is the trusses for the roofing. So all the metal work is close to being done and has been inspected. And then they kind of layer the different insulation and then TPO roofing. And then all our mechanicals will go on top of that. I did notice today they started the screen walls, so we'll have rooftop units to heat and cool the building. Right now they're calling for screening on all 4 sides. We're working on getting it just to be the 3 that are in view, and they've got those sides up. So that's kind of in a nutshell where the project A is right now. Also, if you've driven down 25th Street, you probably can see a backhoe there where they have worked on connecting all the sanitary stuff, so sewer line to the main that is under 25th Street. So that's in progress right now as well. And we do have water out there now, so.
The estimated completion date for Project A is?
Are you asking me, or are there subcontractors listening?
No. I'm just asking.
August 1st, realistically, punch list items, we're hoping 2 to 3 weeks into the August, which is still before our first home football game is scheduled.
Okay.
So with the kind of the delays that we had with, I don't know if we'll say delays, the time that it took to review the plans downtown and to get all those permit approvals, they made up a bunch of time because they were able to cut the prefab walls they had put in, the time they had scheduled for that about in half. So they made up quite a few days there. So it looked a little bit bleak there for a while that we were really going to miss that date. But we talked to the construction superintendent yesterday, and they're still pretty confident, barring any major weather events, that we're pretty close to on schedule with that.
Thank you.
Let's go ahead and move to Project B. And the only new pictures is what you saw anyway, so we'll make sure we get those up here, and if we can throw this up in a second. Brian? I'm sorry, Bill? Okay, go back. Thank you, Bill. So Project B, we didn't have any other pictures anyway, but let's go ahead and go through a few of those. And
Project B?
Project B, and then we'll get to C in a second.
Yeah, so Project B was kind of the non-glamorous items, HVAC, windows, electrical equipment upgrades, boilers, things of that nature. We were able to take some of those items that were on that list and incorporate them into the bid packages of bid package C, some of the things that he just read off, because it made sense to do it while they were in there tearing things apart rather than try to come back. A big component of that, and one of the big dollar items you probably saw with the bid packages, are the electrical equipment in our electrical rooms. Obviously being built in the 60s, a lot of things were grandfathered in, kind of behind the times. Maybe we'll turn on, maybe not. So a lot of those items are being addressed as they are doing this. AES has been really good in allowing us to have a certain type of setup with the type of metering that we have on our property to kind of allow work to coincide and not disrupt the school building itself. So that's a huge plus, that our guys outside can keep building, connecting things, all that kind of stuff. We can start on the aux gym. We can upgrade things within the building because we're running multiple meters. And then when it is time to switch over, it's basically flipping a switch, and it's no disruption to, the learning environment, which obviously is the most important thing. In addition to that, the things that aren't as glamorous, we do have a proposal back from Stair Associates on the HVAC equipment and design plan for Allison Elementary. Basically, the next steps for that is finalizing that plan, and then Stair Associates creates the bid documents, handles the bid process, much like Meyer Nation did for building, or for Project A and C. But that's looking more like a 2026 summer of 26 project, just because of lead times on all the different equipment, in addition to already having summer school scheduled in that building, et cetera. So that's where for the Allison project, HVAC project is. Lentils at the junior high, we have contacted 3 potential bidders on that. We are working on what the actual scope of that is. Do they need replaced? Do they need recaulked? Does it need tuck pointed? What does that actually look like? But I do have 3 contractors on board to bid that project when the scope is determined. I've got 2 of 3 estimates back on gym floor replacement at the junior high. We're about through its life cycle. As you may or may not know, you sand down every so often the gym floor and then reseal it. Well, you can only sand so much wood before it becomes paper, and we're getting close to that. So that is a project that's going to need take some presence here, potentially as soon as this summer, to get that one wrapped up. The windows at Wheeler, I've got 2 of 3 bidders that have come back and agreed to bid that project as well. We've worked with AES on some rebates and some incentives by making our buildings more efficient with Project A and C, hoping that we can continue that, because going to double pane glass at Wheeler will make it more efficient, and you have some kickback dollars to help drive down that cost as well. And
Jordan Auditorium.
oh, there you go. There's the other one. Jordan Auditorium. We did receive quotes and have the lowest bidder for new curtains. So all the curtains, which there's a lot more there than you'd realize. It's not just the ones that shut. There's a whole bunch back there. So we do have the lowest bid back on that, as well as complete floor replacement around the stage and new transitions and all that stuff. We're awaiting one more bid on that, and then we will have officially done the 3 quotes on that. So,
When is that expected to be done? I mean, will that be done in the summer when it's not having?
that would be the hope. Talking to the band director and, let's see, this is a spring musical, so people doing the musical, we've got those dates of when basically they have that wrapped up, and we're trying just to coincide, since the auditorium is such a separate piece of the school building, we could potentially get in there even before school is over with, just once those musicals and awards nights and all those things are finished, which they know that that's kind of our tentative plan, but we don't have a hard start date yet.
Thank you.
Going into Project C now, thank you. If I think of something else on B, we'll get back to that.
Okay.
But right now, we were touching every building. It's been really a few years before that the board, with our capital asset money rolling into this, and especially with our with our rainy day fund, make sure we catch all the things that we need to do to continue for our facilities. But let's go ahead and go to Project C. And there's a piece of this, and we just approved all these bids, but I want to talk about something really boring. Really boring. Let's talk about the mechanical room, the 1962 building, and all kind of where we started and where we thought we were going to be and where we ended, because it's a good day for Speedway schools, especially for that high school, on where we ended.
So I kind of touched on AES kind of working with us, and basically what they're allowed to do, if you think about the meter on the side of your building or your house, we essentially have one big one for all of our property at the high school. They're actually allowing us to run 2, which is not an industry norm, but that's what's helping us keep the buildings running. Part of the reason they need to do that, and part of the reason we had the expedited charges, is to make all these things work in a time frame that doesn't affect students. But basically, where all the power comes into our school is so out of date that they're afraid that when they turn it off, it doesn't exist anymore. So if we would have to fix it, you could be down, until you could get generators hooked up, until you could find the parts, scrapyard, whatever. So that was a big unexpected chunk that is getting replaced that would really kind of filter into that Project B type thing that got awarded in C. So our whole electrical room is basically being revamped with the newer equipment, newer leads, kind of I would say maybe one of the most important things is they are now doing a complete loop. So right now, all of our power comes in by Kroger, basically goes underground under our parking lot and feeds our school. Well, if that line breaks, as you know, 2 years ago, you had to miss a day of school while they dig that up and fix it. AES is now going to complete that loop to the other side of Lyndhurst. So essentially, we're being fed from both directions. This new equipment allows us to do that. So if that happens on the west end of our building, then the east end is still back feeding and we still have power and we never have that interruption, that's a huge upgrade. That's how AES prefers to do things when they do new builds, in addition to upgrading our equipment. As well, in the mechanical room, we are replacing a boiler that is down and out of service, which is needed. When we had those bids pulled out separately, it costs a little bit more money. Now that people are going to be in there doing all this stuff at once, we were able to drive that cost down. Another item that's being tackled with the mechanical rooms is softening of the water. Right now, we have a lot of scaling, and it's causing a lot of maintenance issues in terms of how often we have to clean out strainers, faucets, all the kitchen fixtures, et cetera, because our water is simply so hard that it just gets that calcium and lime buildup that we have to it's a lot of undue maintenance. So as part of that, they're converting it to our entire building will be softened to kind of help with that as well. We've had a lot of boiler issues because of the hard water, so we're hoping to kind of expand the lifespan of some of our equipment by doing that as well, which is, again, kind of one of those things that falls into B, but while they're in there fixing everything as part of C, they might as well just stay in there and kind of group it all together. So those are the B items that are actually awarded in C as well, that are not pretty and not going to get a lot of attention, but from the guy that's calling people to get it fixed, it's a pretty big deal. So.
Good. And then finally on Project C is going to be the oxygen with 3 gyms. And all this is on their website now. We'll make sure we get the other updated pictures of dirt on the website too, so no one's missed anything because it's not projecting here. But with the 3 gyms, weight room, concessions, again, nothing's changed since the last time I've shown that. So I just wanted to say that we're not just doing A and C, we're doing B too. There's going to be a lot of guts in our mechanic rooms that's going to be, I guess you could say, gutted out, and we're going to redo it. So hopefully it'll be good for another 60 or plus years, and that would get us to 2090, 2085. So if you're around listening to this, that's my goal, at least 60 plus years. I'd love to beat 62. What we built for this. The other thing is the old office, the administrative office, right now, they're getting ready to start the construction, so we had to think ahead and forward think, and we moved the weight room into that room or those offices. So I'm really excited about the future on that, and we'll get together and have a discussion with the administration, but we're looking at turning that into, it's a good-sized room of future STEM room, and that's kind of like where obviously that's where the world's going in STEM room and video gaming and things like that. I would love to have just put this out there, I'd love to have the #1 video gaming place for our kids to go, and more kids, and we have kids getting scholarships on this, so it's a real deal. So we have some nice space to take our time, like we do at Speedway, we take our time, we do it right. And that's how I feel like this process has been all the way from start to finish. We're within our budget, we believe we're on time. Knock on wood, I understand, I shouldn't have said that. But we, I would, 1978, I think we had a blizzard in March. Is that right, guys? Is that right?
It was January.
Was it January? That was March. So we've had snow before in March, and it's looking good right now in the forecast. But we're still crossing our fingers on that one to make sure that we can get through this season, and then we'll have the rain to fight with in the spring because we live in Indiana and that's what happens. But we're looking good on this. Again, so just so people know, this won't be done, the Project C part, until June of 2026. So I'd like to thank Eric, Dan, for all the work that you guys have done on this, the building corporation, the design team, the finance team. It's not wrapping up, but it feels like there's some pieces that we're really moving forward on this. So extremely excited. 25th Street, if you've been on that lately in front of the high school, I know the town got a really nice bid on that, and they're gonna redo 25th Street. We're gonna probably do the front parking lot this summer too, while they're doing that, to clean that area up. And there's going to be more decisions to make down the road of what we want to do next and whatnot. But within keeping our means too, and I think that's what we've always done in Speedway. So that is, I'm ready for questions. Project A, B, and C. There's a lot that's going to go on the next couple of years here, and I just appreciate you guys for your support.
I'll add the maintenance building, they have broke ground and started laying the pad on that as well. So that was a little behind schedule for a handful of reasons, but they've now started getting that ground stabilized and gravel laid down, and that should be a pretty quick process. So.
And that's to replace the storage space that we had underneath the old concrete.
Yeah, so that's where we kept a lot of our, the tractors and all the implements attached to it. So with that being gone, that's basically a glorified pole barn to store all that stuff, so.
And we've been able to do all of the additional mechanical work that we're doing at the high school, the boiler, the electrical, and keep within our budget?
Within our budget, yes. We took it to the lead, though. People are really good at that, but we did. We got the most that we could, and we fixed a lot of things.
Great.
Thanks, Eric.
Thanks, Eric.
Thanks for all your work, both of you.
Our sixth agenda item this evening is to present the Exemplary Governance Award.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would like to acknowledge this exemplary status for the School Board of Trustees. So it's you guys, you never asked for this, but I want to let everyone know that out of the last 6 years, we've won this 5 of the years, especially with it's really extraordinary with a new school board member that because of the time and work that you guys put in that you received this. A few years ago, there was only 2 school boards in the state of Indiana. But let me read this. Exemplary Governance Award is the highest award a school board can earn. The distinction is earned by validating exemplary board service by showing evidence of leadership and governance effectiveness, student achievement initiatives, continuous improvement, strategic planning, and policy review. I'd like to say thank you to each one of you and Mr. Bickle, who's not with us tonight, but this is truly an award that a lot of places would love to have, and this is just what we do year in, year out. We put the work in, and our academic results show it. So do our financial status, and that's because we have a board that is exemplary, and I just say thank you and congratulations. We'll get another thing to go on this in a couple months, and we'll be honored at the 2025 Fall Conference. So congratulations.
Thank you. Our seventh agenda item this evening is an acknowledgement of $215,494.60 of grants received. The eighth agenda item this evening is the personnel report. Mr. Disney.
Personnel report for the month of March has 4 people that have resigned their position that work for us. Mark Chastain has resigned his position as assistant baseball coach at the junior high school. Stevie Flum has resigned her position as assistant, it says baseball coach when you're thinking it's track coach at Speedway Junior High School. Amber Wade has resigned her position as a cafeteria worker, 6-hour position at the junior high school. And then Rodney Rivers, who has worked with our high school 9th grade football coach and a split stipend, has resigned his position. Recommendations for employment: Randy Saxton, assistant track coach at the junior high school. And Yosmar Flores Vasquez is the director of musical and choral at Speedway High School. And there's one volunteer coach, Matt Klumper, and Matt worked with us last year as a volunteer coach with the boys golf program at the junior high school. And my recommendation is to approve the personnel report as presented.
I'll move that we approve the personnel report as presented.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion or questions concerning the personnel report? All those in favor of approval, please signify. That passes 4-0. The ninth agenda item this evening is the recognition of visitors. Thank you very much for being here. And is there any other business?
I would. 2 things. I'd like to thank the Speedway Lions Club for their 87th or so annual pancake breakfast. Lion John Disney led that this year as president of the Lions Club, and we had over $5,000. Last thing I heard, way more than $5,000. That's going to go directly to school town of Speedway students for their scholarships. I'd also like to say every year it's just more and more, but thank you to the scholarships for Speedway as they broke their own record last year, well over $40,000 for the 2 weekends phone-a-thon. So there'll be more donations coming in And I'd just like to thank the committee for that too. So, in about 3 weekends, there was really 2 weekends, we overlapped one, probably over $50,000 that our community and businesses put in for the futures of our students here in Speedway schools. And that's a great day for Speedway. So thank you all.
I'll piggyback on something you said. Usually, phone-a-thons and things like that bring in sometimes they're as low as 25% of what's actually pledged every year. And it speaks to the people who live in this town. As Kyle said, we had over $40,000 pledged. We'll probably end up with somewhere between $43,000 and $45,000 that people that say they're going to donate to it do, plus ones that didn't get a call, or snowbirds in Florida, they'll send. And so it just speaks to the people and their belief in education in our town. It makes me proud.
Absolutely. Thank you.
And if there's no other business, we shall adjourn to approve claims.